a $75,000 donation total. And I have a $25 donation here from Inhumanus that says, hype! Thank you, Inhumanus. And you know what can get us hyped? It's time for another run. That's right. Right now, it's time for River City Girls' new game by Bahamut X. Take it away. Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, like I said, I'm Bahamut X. I hope everyone's having a great morning so far. I will be playing River City Girls. As mentioned, I have 3 people joining me on commentary. Introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Adam.
And I'm moonblazewolf, and I do not work at WayForward, but I really love this game, and I'm good friends with Bahamut X. I also speedrun some other stuff.
You guys can hear me, right? Okay.
I think I'm unmuted.
Do we need to just go around and do quick introductions again here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll just go quick here again. Hi, I'm Bahamut X. I have 3 people joining me on commentary. Introduce yourselves.
I am Bannon Rudis, and I work at WayForward also, and I am a co-director also.
Yep, and I'm moonblazewolf. I'm going to be doing mainly commentary for this run, but also asking some very pressing questions of Adam and Ben.
Yes, indeed it was. Oh, yep, and we'll be coming back to River City Girls in just one moment here as we work out some technical issues. Thanks for bearing with us on that. Senor Lucha donated $10 here saying, a time for the girls to rescue the guys for a change. I'm not sure if it was intentional, but it says rescues. So, yeah, thank you so much for that, Senor Lucha. Here's a $100 donation. Wonderful. From Pirate Baird the Backstabber, who says, first-time donator, long-time watcher, keep on doing good work. Thank you so much, Pirate Baird, for that. Yes, I love hearing from first-time donors. It happens so often, every event, someone will add that to their comment. Let me assure you that donating is very simple and painless. It's really quite easy to do through the website. Check out the donate button below the stream or at gamesdonequick.com/donate. Head on over there, and again, when you put your donation in, you can choose an incentive for it to go toward. You can see all of the wonderful prizes that you're eligible to win at the time. All of the information you might need is there. It's really straightforward, so don't be intimidated by the donation process. Here's the Karos with $15 donation. Longtime GDQ watchers, first-time donators. We appreciate everything y'all do for the charities and the gaming community. And we appreciate your donation, the Karos. Thank you very much for showing your appreciation by donating. That is why we put on the events. If we've entertained you at all, if you're having a good time, feel free to chip in a little bit toward Prevent Cancer Foundation. Much appreciated. that River City Ransom sauna percent incentive is inching up there, but we only have one game left to go here. Again, we're trying to hit a bonus run, sauna percent run. It is a meme category, I would say. No offense if the runners would disagree. But so if you like memes, make sure to check it out. Again, as the description says, RCR does feature a sauna. So if we do a sauna percent run, Ryan, the protagonist, will kick back and relax in the sauna as soon as the runners can access it, which they can do very quickly. Trust me, RCR being a short game anyway, sauna percent is even shorter. So check that out when you contribute. Consider tossing some dollars at sauna percent, be much appreciated. If you're wondering about other incentives to donate toward, after that we've got Tony Hawk's Underground 2 still has an open incentive for extra fun stuff, and I wanted to point that out because Tony Hawk's Underground 2 or Thug 2, the extra fun stuff is going to be really great on that one. All right, everyone, we are ready. Let's send it to Bahamut X here with River City Girls. Take it away.
All right, hi everybody, I'm Bahamut X. I hope everyone's having a great early morning so far. I will be playing River City Girls. I have 3 people joining me on commentary. Introduce yourselves.
Hey, this is Adam Tierney. I work for Way Forward, and I'm co-director of River City Girls.
Hello, everybody. I'm still Bannon Rudis. I'm the other co-director, and I also work at Way Forward.
And I'm moonblazewolf. I speedrun other things, but I'm a big fan of River City Girls, and I'm here to do commentary for Bahamut's Run.
All right, I believe we established earlier that the all bosses incentive was met. So who will I be playing, Misako or Kyoko?
Okay, let me check in on that one. Here we go.
Plays Akuma.
We have, with a $1,490 raised for charity, Kyoko is the winner of the character choice.
Excellent. All right. Since I think we're all ready to go, we will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so welcome everybody to River City Girls. I'm going to be doing the most of the commentary so Bahamut can focus on the game, but we are starting out here in River City High School, basically. It has another name that we'll see on the floor in just a second, but it's escaping me right now. But this is just a quick overview of some of the mechanics because this is just a little bit of an area where we're getting into the game a little bit. The first thing that you should know is that there are 2 kinds of attacks. There is sort of like a normal or a weak attack and then a strong attack. Generally, you're going to see Bahamut doing 3 weaks followed by a heavy or a strong. There's also weapons. We're not really going to use those very much. Bahamut's mainly going to be picking them up to move them out of the way. And as we get a little further into the game, Bahamut is going to be able to get more abilities that are going to allow him to do more damage and do more combos and different things like that. You also probably have noticed the chain link that's around the screen right now, and that is what we call a locked room. Locked rooms are rooms that Bahamut is going to have to fight his way out of. He has to defeat a couple waves of enemies usually in order to make the lock go away. One of the big tech things in the speedrun that you actually won't see because of how Bahamut's going to be skipping them. But Bahamut is going to skip a lot of the locked rooms over the course of the run. He's going to do this through one of 3 ways. He's either going to run through the room fast enough that it won't trigger the locked room. He'll avoid the area or encounter like the dialogue that would trigger the locked room. So that is obviously a really big way to speed the run up. You also notice he just punched that Sabu statue that was sitting on the teacher's desk here. And that is related to the All Bosses incentive that you also graciously donated for. There are 25 of those in the game. Bahamut has to destroy all 25 of them to unlock the final secret boss that we'll be fighting at the end. Which, again, thank you so much for all the donations that helped make that happen. So As we're coming through, and I know this is like one of the early favorite rooms, so I'm gonna just sort of bring on Adam and Bannon just maybe to talk a little bit about like why a River City Girls game for Way Forward, and what was kind of, you know, the development of the game like generally.
Yeah, I mean, this is Adam. We Bannon and I each have different kind of origins of River City Girls. For me, it was, you know, growing up on River City Ransom, loving it, and then very recently finding out about the Super Famicom game that starred Kyoko Masako, and just loving the way that those characters were portrayed in the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom game. And so we reached out to ARC and said, hey, we want to do like a Way Forward version, and they were totally on board.
Yeah, and I actually started off before I even got to Way Forward, making a game called River City Ransom Underground. So I have a long-standing love affair with the entire series, like River City, even some of the Niketsu Kunio-ken stuff that I was able to get my hands on, and then especially Dodgeball back in the day. And then
I know those games are very familiar to a lot of people.
Yeah, that is why the dodgeball is in this game. There's a little ode to dodgeball on the left side of the school, which is the beanball court. That was kind of like the free-for-all, like battle royale version of dodgeball. But other than that, yeah, River City Ransom Underground was kind of my resume to even get into the game industry, and I think it caught Adam's eye, and he's like, let's have lunch, talk to the bosses.
And for people who aren't familiar, this series has about 50 games in Japan. They've just been, you know, for over 3 decades building up these characters and these locations and everything. So it was really awesome to tap into all that lore and be able to kind of put our spin on all that, you know, 30 years and 50 games worth of back history.
Yeah, and your team really did incorporate so much of the lore in the game. So for everybody who's watching, like, definitely be on the lookout for some of that. We'll call out some of it as we see it, but I'm sure we're going to miss a ton of stuff as well. But I mean, it really just kind of feels like it's just drenched in that universe to me.
Well, Arc System Works, we found out they are super fans. Like, of course they have to be, because, you know, they did buy up everything. Like, even during Underground, they kind of took over the license halfway through, so I had to work with them, and they are incredibly, like, obsessive super fans of the series.
Nice.
Yeah, it was basically
so
just... Oh, cool. Go ahead.
I was just going to quickly cut in and mention, this is the first boss fight there's 6 areas of the game, so this is the boss of Area 1. The bosses mainly work all in the same way. They are 3-phase bosses, and they do slightly different things in each phase. This is Masuzu, who I know is a character that you both said that you, I believe, recycled from a different River City game, correct?
Yeah, she was one of the very first bosses in the first game. She's always been kind of a mainstay of the series, so it was really fun. And even though she, you know, kind of looks massive and hulking, I think she's supposed to be like a 16, 17-year-old teenage girl. So
she's just a teenager, yeah.
It was really fun to put our spin on her.
I tried getting her in Underground, but Arc said no. So I'm glad she finally got to show up in this one.
Oh, that was a really nice final cycle there by Bahamut. There are some of these boss fight phases where you can one-cycle them if you do extremely well, and that was a really, really nice final phase there from Bahamut to get through that fight cleanly. So we're off to a good start. We've already busted out of high school, and the game does open up just a little bit here now. There's going to be some side quests and things. We're mostly not going to do those. Most of I mentioned there's 6 different sections to the game. All of the rest of them from now on kind of have like a gatekeeping quest that you have to complete to unlock the path to the area's boss. This second phase is, we're going to end up at the mall here in just a little bit, and just to give you an example, the mini quest that we're going to do is to unlock the mall. Like, it's literally like there's a lock on the door right now, so we're going to be working towards that. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and then, though. And there's a couple other things I want to talk about, but it's going to get going here. So Bahamut is going to very quickly be able to start buying consumable items. The way consumables work in this game is the first time you eat a food item or like watch a video or play a video game or something like that, you do get a permanent stat up, but then for food after that, it's basically just healing. So Bahamut is going to be buying a variety of food items, mainly focused on agility, attack, and stamina. He's also going to be buying some special abilities from the dojo masters that he comes across. And there's one special item that he's going to get a few of here called Turbo Juice, which is actually going to just give him a speed boost, which is going to be used to speed things up and actually, in one instance in particular, at least, allow him to skip a locked room. So,
Anytime
that's
you
just a little
see-
overview of this next phase here.
More customers.
Oh, kitty in the
Yeah,
background.
there's a kitty. Bannon, you were saying though.
Okay.
Oh, anytime you see an arrow, that was me drawing that in, watching people get lost in the game. So that was me
Yeah,
like, go this way.
Yep, that's a trick to game dev. It's like, they
There
still
it
can't
is.
figure it out. Add an arrow, add a yellow arrow, add 2 yellow arrows.
Yep. Pokemario, the guy behind the counter looks so dead inside, that is actually me.
Oh no.
So that is pretty accurate.
Well,
Yeah,
I know you're both West Coast, so it might actually be specific to the two of you this morning. We really appreciate you getting up for this.
Of course. Yeah, the
No problem.
shopkeepers.
I'm dead inside. I'm doing sleep.
The shopkeepers are where we put a lot of cameos, and most of them are people from Kunio-kun lore. Kunio-kun is the name in Japan for River City, or Double Dragon, or related games. Some of them are WayForward staffers, like Bannon said. We just saw him. We'll see a couple other WayForward directors later as well.
Yep. And Bahamut is starting to do more of the juggling now, so you'll see he'll get those enemies airborne, and then he'll be able to kind of keep them airborne for additional damage. Now I want to call out this next room coming up here in just a minute. It's not, he's getting on his way over there, but this is the hardest skip in the game. This is Pattinson, the skip to Pattinson's house. And we're gonna see Bahamut in just a second here kind of sneak around the corner in one more screen. And I want to call it out because it's really going to be impressive. But he got in there. You saw the lock coming on, and that is the hardest skip in the entire game. So you got it first try. Well done. And you got the jump to the key the first time
Nice
as well.
job.
Really nicely done, Bahamut.
Thank you. That's the hardest one of the game.
Yeah. So there's a lot of other tricky stuff, but it just in terms of like stuff where if it doesn't work, we might have seen like a reset or something. That was probably the most important one. So, and we do have a little bit of downtime here before we get to the next part. So, Prolix, if there's any donations or anything like that, we can probably do 2 or 3 right now.
You got it, 2 or 3 coming right up, because we do have some love coming in out there from the audience. Here's a $10 from Yui saying, I'm so excited to be watching GDQ while I work. I love RCG and RCR. Shout out to everyone playing. You all are wonderful. And then Matt here donated $25 saying, woo, for River City Girls. Hope WayForward will soon drop some infos on the next game. Sorry, Adam, don't mean to call you out there. And then here's $25 donated from Bullrug, who says, River City Girls, hype! I need to see that Hades speedrun. Thank you very much,
wow.
everyone.
I've
Hype
been
for
playing
sure, and
way
hype
too
for
much.
Hades.
Yep.
Hype for the River City Ransom race coming up after this. Hopefully we'll get that Sana incentive met as well.
Oh my!
Yeah, and people.
So we're gonna
people-
be. Go ahead,
Oh, I was
Adam.
just gonna say, yeah, people ask a lot, so nothing's announced, but I believe it was already announced. Yes, we are doing more River City Girls. We will be returning to River City in the near future, WayForward and ARC. So no details yet, but we're working on stuff.
That's awesome. So, I mean, we got a second here while we're getting to the Area 2 boss. So, like, just I'm sure you both have been, like, really excited and blown away by the reception that this game has received. What do you like to talk about with fans of this game when you get a chance?
I mean, I still dip into the Twitch streams. Like when people play, like I will get up in there and start talking to people because it's still exciting for me. Like I don't ever get over somebody playing my video games or whatever. I love it. So I will get in there and just chat with them and go over like trivia and stuff like that.
Yeah, very much the same. I'm just floored by the fact that people are still playing our game daily over a year after it came out. And I think, probably my favorite thing is, it was a really weird game in the way that it matches, combat systems with over-the-top, story and characters and VO and music. You can hear Megan McDuffie, our amazing composer, singing right now. So I think seeing that everybody kind of digs a little bit of everything is probably the most satisfying thing.
Sure.
Yeah, there's just like so many memorable moments in this game, and I know we're gonna see a lot of them. You pretty much see, like, aside from New Game Plus stuff in the run that Bahamut is doing, we're gonna see pretty much the whole game here. So it's for a speed run, you don't always get that. There's no like major skips or anything. There's sort of optimizing and skipping individual rooms and stuff like that, but nothing like we're gonna skip entire levels or anything. So yeah, if this looks fun to you, definitely you'll want to check it out. And speaking of fun, we got another boss fight coming up here.
So Yamada is the original boss of River City Ransom. In the American version, he is Slick or Simon. So he's just, to me, I always just think of him, he's obsessed with rooftops because that's where you always find him. So there he is.
Yeah, and he was kind of a late addition to the game, but I think very quickly became one of everybody's favorites on the team just because of his crazy personality and telekinesis fighting. And one thing you'll notice, as far as Bannon mentioned rooftops, you'll notice that even though this is a pixel game, we don't use tile sets in the game. So normally with a pixel game, you create a couple of art sets and just reuse them. So that's why you have the lava stages or the ice stages or whatever. Every single stage that you hop into in this game, and I think there's over 130 of them, is a separate, totally redrawn area. We really wanted River City to feel like a complete city, top to bottom. That was very important to the dev team.
Yeah, all of the zones are very distinctive, and like you said, like even within that, there's just little rooms or little areas that everything really has its own flavor. And another really nice, clean boss fight there, Bahamut. Well done.
Yeah, real quick, I've never seen somebody juggle Yamada off the side like that.
Well, yeah, I know we did. It's funny because we did one kind of like rehearsal for this, but Bahamut was playing Misako for that. So you two probably haven't really seen the Kyoko speedrun. I got to see it once a few days ago because Bahamut had a hunch. I don't know if y'all know this, and Bahamut, maybe you want to just jump in here really quick when you get a second, but Kyoko's got a special move that she really likes to do, and I know you said that you had something special that you wanted to associate that with for GDQ.
Oh, yes. People may know, if you know River City Girls, you may know about the dab. Generally don't dab because it doesn't really induce for speedrunning, but I'll probably dab some anyway. So every dab I do, I will donate $10.
All right. So everybody be on the lookout for those dabs in the chat.
Devastating.
The dab
quick
used to
double dragon
be.
shout out there. Go ahead, Ben.
The dab used to be like 2 seconds longer too. It was way more epic.
I remember it was like lightning everywhere, just screen
No, that
shaking.
was Joel adding the lightning in because he wanted to make it even more epic. It was just there was a lot more wind flowing through her and stuff like that. I was like, this is not
Nice
playable.
one. Got it.
And I think that was one of my favorite things of the game as we worked on it too. Is we knew it was going to be a very funny game, and so making sure that humor and a lot of that was Bannon and our lead animator Kay figuring that stuff out, making sure that humor that was in the story was everywhere. So it's like in the way that they pose, it's the way they attack and they animate. We really wanted to make sure that everything in the game reinforced the personality of these girls.
Yeah, and maybe this would be just kind of a good time to mention that because we did have a character bid war, and I know from talking to Bahamut from a gameplay perspective, Kyoko is a lot more, I guess, acrobatic. We're going to see in the boss fight of this area coming up here, that really on display where the boss likes to hover at the top of the room. Kyoko can get up there and knock her down pretty easily, whereas Misako has a lot more trouble. So there's like really specific boss fights and strats that come along with each character. But you were just kind of talking about personality in general. So do you want to speak to like each girl's sort of personality, especially for maybe Misako that people are missing out on this morning?
Yeah, I think like, you know, I love just the classic anime trope of like the, you know, angry, serious, dark-haired girl and the, you know, more friendly, you know, kind of lighter, like light-haired girl. It's, you know, dirty pair. You see it in like every anime thing. But I think the way that we saw them is Masako is, you know, on the surface she's the tough girl, and Kyoko is more kind of the bubbly one. But Kyoko gets angrier, way angrier than Masako does if you push her too far. So we kind of like those kind of two, you know, edges to their personality.
I saw that dab, Bahamut, by the way.
That one was on purpose.
I saw what you did.
Well, there's one. So real quick, this is so minor. What Bahamut just did, walking under and behind that pillar, like there's a ceiling and the pillar, there's like a little snack machine behind the volleyball character or the hockey character. What he just did right there, that was our first test to see if we could do a beat 'em up game that's 2D but has 3D elements of the fact that there's ceilings, there's multiple layers of trying to get, like, there's columns and ceilings and walls and stuff like that, instead of it just being a typical like final fight where you don't really interact with the background, where it's just flat. So that was our first test right there to go, can we do this? Can we put ceilings that you can't see and put like actual depth to this?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
was so much complexity, and yeah, it looks like a 2D game. It is technically a 3D game. If you tilt the camera in Unity, the engine that we use to create it, you can actually see everything's 3D and the characters are actually moving in space. It's just all flattened visually. And those were two other Way Forward directors, Tom Hewlett and James Montagna.
That's
so that
really
is,
cool.
yeah, essentially the Vitamin Connection guy and the Bloodstain guy.
Yeah.
I just wanted to really quickly mention as well there, you saw Bahamut do a couple save and quits. The first one was because he was trying to get that locker room skip, and I think just didn't get it exactly right the first time. The second one, when he was in the arcade, was actually because the only reason he needed to go in there was for a Sabu statue. So once he smashed it, rather than have to fight his way back out of the arcade, he just save and quit back outside. And there's a couple locked room skips that you actually do by using a save and quit as well.
Something gold.
Yeah, the one
I was very disappointed in myself. That level he just ran out of. That is originally supposed to be a conveyor belt. That's why you got the spikes and stuff like that. I just ran out of time to animate, and I was trying to animate all the people in the background too, but yeah, I was wanting to make that a conveyor belt, because that goes into a screen lock over there, and so you'd have to constantly like try to fight against the conveyor belt and not fall into the pit.
And
it haunts me.
The very tall girl that he just beat up is Linda from Double Dragon. So people will notice they were your dojo leaders as well, Billy and Jimmy Lee. There's always been a crossover from the beginning of the series between River City Ransom and Double Dragon. So our System Works owns both of them, and so we got pretty much free reign of any use of River City characters, Double Dragon, Comba Tribes, a bunch of like obscure old Data East stuff. It was all kind of the shared universe.
It's just neat to see how, to hear about that collaboration. And I know, like you said, this series is very, very treasured in Japan. And we actually have a pretty substantial Japanese restream watching as well. So shout outs to them.
Hello, Japan.
So, in Japan, yep, they have their own restream team that is showing the event in Japanese for all the fans over there. So shout outs to them. And we're going through a series of locked rooms here where there's not a whole lot going on. Bahamut can't skip these. He's just going to have to fight his way through. So just really, let's give Prolix maybe a minute or two here to read a few more donations.
Hey, thanks very much. Okay, I have a $5 donation here from Katacha that says, River City Girls all bosses? Count me in. And also, here's a $25 donation from Zerch that says, hey, Bahamut X, congrats from your coworker Chris on your first GDQ run. Has been a fun journey watching you start your Twitch channel doing Final Fantasy Enterprise runs and your transition to River City Girls. Best of luck on your run and kick cancer's butt.
Thank you so much, Chris. He's a good friend from work.
Also have a $10 donation here from Cupo Joe, who says, not only is it great to see River City Girls at GDQ, but it's big hype to see Games Done Quick going on strong this past year. Now more than ever, I think having this cause is so important. Big shout out to Bannon and the team at WayForward for making such a rad game.
Where we go all day long. I guess so.
Real quick side note, I love you, Cup of Joe.
Oh, and
also,
yeah.
go ahead, Prolix.
Oh, I was just going to let people know. I see some people in chat saying, be right back buying this game and things like that. If you donate $10 or more there, like Cup of Joe said, one of the prizes that's available right now does happen to be a Steam key for River City Girls. And as the marathon closes in on $300,000 and we get, we're only a few $100s away from Sauna Percent, just wanted to encourage everyone to donate. And I know prizes can be some of the incentive that people need for that.
Absolutely. And yeah, let's get that sauna incentive met for the next run, and let's hit 300K by the end of this run. That would be fantastic. Adam, were you gonna chime in with something there?
Oh no, I don't remember. I was just going to comment that it's really fun watching the precision that Bahamut's tearing through these guys. I remember with the floor 3 where he was just killing it in terms of chaining combos with the jump kicks, and then he had a flashing counter in the middle and everything. I mean, this is really expert gaming. You know, like Bannon said, we watch a lot of people play a game on Twitch, but very rarely see somebody at this precision and skill level. So it's pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, I know Bahamut has played this game so incredibly much. This is the fourth marathon that I've seen him run it in, and just even through all that, just keeps getting better and better, and it's really exciting to be able to get him on the big stage here, showing off this game, because the game itself is so good, and I know he's worked so hard at it.
So for everybody noticing, that's not Papyrus. I see a lot of people making that mistake. That's Skullmageddon. It was the main villain of Double Dragon Neon, which WayForward developed about a decade ago. And we actually brought the director of that game, Sean Velasco, who directed Shovel Knight, back to voice the character again. So it was cool. You know, he left WayForward a while to start his own studio. It was nice to bring him back to the family briefly to revoice that character.
I see people say Papyrus still. It's like, no, not Papyrus. Skullmageddon. Yeah, that was one of the big ones. Like, I think Ark even really enjoyed that character and wanted him in the game.
Yeah, a lot of people think that we put him in just because it's a WayForward thing, but a lot of characters, including him, were requested by Ark. Like Bannon said, they are just like the deepest lore Kunio-kun fans, and so again, this whole game was just both companies geeking out about this brand and just going nuts on it.
Yeah, a good example of that is the fact that Adam originally, you know, we were trying to make it just a little cleaner, and like everybody just goes to River City High, whatever, and Adam had to rewrite at the beginning going, I don't even go to this school, because that's like Art going, no, she doesn't go to, you know, like Crosstown High. You have to make sure the lore is intact. So we're like, okay.
And it's so complicated, because when we say there's like 50 games, it's not just 50 games of action. It's like hundreds of characters and relationships and who's dating who and who goes where. Like, it's so complicated. It's like an RPG basically, and we had to kind of comb through all that.
So the voice of this character is one of my best friends, Mary Hansen, and that's my old roommate also. So just throwing a shout out to her.
And Habari is actually, she's one of the few characters that we created totally from scratch. So that's something else that we did with the bosses and with the enemies. Some of them are classic Kunio-kun characters or Double Dragon Reimagined. Some of them are totally from scratch, created by WayForward, so she's one of the new ones.
Well, yeah, and this boss absolutely stands out in terms of just the gameplay dynamics. It's much more of like a bullet hell boss. We haven't seen a lot of that because Bahamut has just been making this fight look so easy. I mean, it's already done. But like, this is a boss fight in particular where Kyoko really shines, because those aerial attacks, she can knock Habari down pretty much in one cycle. Whereas I'm pretty sure with Masako, usually it's almost impossible to do that. Usually it takes 2 hits, and it does go a little bit slower there. So just an incredible boss fight there, Bahamut. Really nicely done.
Thank you.
This is what I kind of like, is how fast he's going. It's almost like it's almost like we're doing like, oh, no spoilers kind of thing, because he's just defeating stuff so fast you don't actually get to see it.
You know, I think GDQ chat is used to it, and we're actually we're getting a lot of good information out there for people. So I think that everybody is really just able to take it in. The one thing I feel bad about, and there's actually a spot in this level, this fourth level, where I actually hope we can maybe be quiet and just listen to the dialogue a little bit, because the voice acting and the dialogue in this game is just so funny, and we're talking over most of it, but when they're fighting the trash zombies here in a second, I think we should maybe let that all play out, because it's like absolutely my favorite part of the entire thing.
I did want to say one thing about.
Sure,
sorry. Just one thing I want to say about the Habari fight is she is one of the 2 boss fights I would say is the hardest to maximize. So I'm really happy about that Habari fight.
Yeah, that was clean. I was gonna say with the voice actors, yeah, our voice cast was amazing on this game. Kira Buckland does Kyoko, and Kaylee Mills does Masako. We were super pleased with them, and we also had them recording together, so that's why the banter feels so natural. The 2 of them were actually in studio recording together, and you know, the reason you can actually hear bits of dialogue in this, as opposed to a lot of, you know, maybe speedrun games, is because we have so much passive dialogue. We wanted dialogue that was playing during the action, so that you're not just doing cutscene gameplay. You can actually hear some of the story while you're actually running through and beating people up.
Yeah, it does have that feel of like a little bit of like comic relief break at times, which, you know, you could really just kind of go through this game and just punch stuff for a couple hours straight, but it's really nice that you have all that flavor and character to the game as well.
Real
There's
quick, that
Cat
was a
Girl,
shout
there's
out
Kabako.
to Cat Girl Without Salad, Adam's game.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead, repeat that. Something Cat Girl, Adam's game.
The big graffiti of that weird pink space girl. That's a Way Forward character. So that's another cameo from one of our games.
That is fantastic. But yeah, we're in the 4th part now. This is downtown. Bahamut is kind of cleaning up some of these Sabu statues, because a few of them are just a little bit out of the way, as you can see. But making good progress there. Don't want to miss any and have to come back and find them later. And yeah, now we're gonna try to. I just realized, like, why we haven't even talked about like why we're even doing this. Like, we have to find our boyfriends.
Yes.
What up, ladies? You come on.
That's not our boyfriend, by the way, but this is the trash zombies. I think after this, let's talk a little bit more about the premise of this game, because it's pretty great.
Sure.
Smelly zombies surrounded by smelly trash. Yep. This day get any more gross? It's still early. Ew! I can't believe we're fighting zombies in a trash compactor. Wanna give up? Am I Ricky? Never!
Yeah,
So
I guess
the
they just alluded
zombies-
to it a little bit there. So, no, the zombies did not steal their boyfriends, but maybe they did. We're not sure yet.
So the zombies are a runoff from River City Ransom Underground. I did see somebody asking, is Double Dragon part of the River City universe? Technically, no. There's like crossover cameos, but the Double Dragon universe is a post-apocalyptic future. So it's not in the same timeline, but we'll just consider it like it's Marvel 2099 mixing over with like the cinematic universe or the 616 universe.
And by the way, I would say that, you know, not to spoil too much, but that event that just happened is like peak Adam and Bannon humor, where you go through like this gross thing to get keys, and then it's like, oh, those aren't my keys. There's a lot of like very almost kind of like goofy dad humor, I think, in the characters and the logical progression stuff of the game.
Yeah, it's just pretty lighthearted, and like we were kind of alluding to before that, as we get to we're already to the chapter, well, I guess they're not technically chapters, but we're to the 4th boss here, Abobo, which is not a particularly tough boss fight for Bahamut, so I think it'll be okay if we just kind of keep talking over it. But yeah, we're trying to find our boyfriends. We thought maybe some other girl stole them, now we just think they got kidnapped. We don't know what the heck's going on. And that just gets more and more ridiculous as the game goes along, too.
And Abobo was really fun to develop. Patrick Seitz, our friend, voices him. It was fun because he's usually just this mute, towering, like Hulk in the Double Dragon games, and he's one of the most famous characters. But we really gave him, you know, quite a bit of intelligence, and he talks about, like, enjoying music and stuff. It was nice to kind of have that brute persona, but then also have a little bit of culture to him. And the combat was great. I mean, you can see he's got a lot of wrestling moves. Bannon is a big wrestling fan.
Well, so that move itself is his classic move from the arcade. Like, if you got too close to a Bobo, he would toss you over his head. So I was trying to put in as many references as possible. But there's also this weird thing that I put in there where Abobo's been doing this for so long, his back hurts.
Yep.
So there's a couple moves where you can see him kind of favoring his back. Somebody asked what is the difference between their fighting styles. So to me, Misako she learned how to fight on the streets. Like, she never had any formal training at all. That's why some of her moves look a little sloppy. They are just trying to get as much power behind them without any actual like style or grace. And then Kyoko just seemed like she was raised a little more formal. It might not show in her like day-to-day life, but that at least is her upbringing. And so she had a background in dance or like ballet and volleyball. So that's why she does like volleyball spikes and stuff, and she does a lot of like the cheer drill is like, she definitely had like cheerleader background and stuff like that.
And she seems like, I mean, you can really even see in the faces that Kyoko is really kind of enjoying the fight versus Misako is more in the moment, a little more serious. But yeah, like Bannon said, I really love, I think it was Masako's haymaker where she just totally loses balance as she throws the punch. Again, like, you know, props to Bannon and our animator KU for really putting in the personality in all those different attacks.
Yeah, that matches up pretty well. I would say, yeah, Kyoko's definitely more graceful and Masako's like a little bit more brutal. So like we've kind of been saying, they're two very distinct characters, and you can play this game co-op as well, locally, I believe, or there's ways that you can do it over network and stuff. But
yeah, it's local, but the Steam connection, whatever their like, you know, pseudo online thing works for this game. So you can, if you have the Steam version, you can connect non-locally to play with friends.
And there is a co-op speedrun category as well, I was noticing earlier today.
In that tunnel she was just in, all of those enemies she was just fighting, none of them are canonically River City characters. The guy with the hammer is Trash. He is one of the bosses from Kaba Tribes. It's an old Technos game. It was a 3-player arcade game, and it went to the Super Nintendo. And we have Linda from Double Dragon. This is Danny from Game Grumps.
Excellent choice.
Linda from Double Dragon, and then Abore is Double Dragon 2. He's the Arnold-looking guy that you fight on, I think, like the giant tank.
Yo, is this no?
Yeah,
And
yeah. That character is very reminiscent of a few sort of tropes or whatever, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love tropes. And that's one of my favorite. He just talked to Burnov, one of my favorite Double Dragon 2 characters. He's the first boss where he vanishes with the mask and everything. We really wanted to get him in this game, and I think he is like one of the weirdest, like, I think people who haven't played Double Dragon 2 will have no idea what's going on when he vanishes, but for people who, you know, grew up on it like me and Bannon, I think it's an extra little bit of fun humor and trivia.
So just a quick game update here as we get into this locked room. We're in the 5th area now called Ocean Heights. And there is a concert by famous rocker Noise. And since we still haven't found our boyfriends, we think maybe they've been seduced by the rock star. And so we're figuring out how to get some VIP passes to the concert here.
As they say, all the boys love noise.
The fish on the ground, that is from River City Ransom Underground also. So I was putting in self shout-outs. So if you throw the thing, it does the same exact little, like, surprise face.
And one thing
I mean,
about the bosses that was cool is we really wanted to have the bosses thematically tied to the girls. So we have these, two teenage girls. So you notice the people you're fighting, they're dealing with fashion, they're dealing with rock and roll, they're dealing with, things that would relate to them. We really wanted this whole entire game world to kind of revolve around what Misako and Kyoko either love or hate.
A couple old ass guys trying to figure out what little girls like.
I bet Ricky and Cooney.
Well, you did a pretty good job, and some of it's just like general sort of like humor and stuff like that. Because there's a great bit here. So the mini quest here to get the VIP passes is we need to figure out Noise's hometown, favorite food, and dog's name. And since Bahamut's going to go through the puzzles so quickly, I think we can go ahead and spoil that the dog's name is actually Dog, D-A-G-G.
But like the cool kids spell it.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Really quick here in this room, I just want to call out, Bahamut really slowed down and was being extra careful there because you can actually, you can lock the game if you do those triggers incorrectly. You get the favorite food from, there's a food stand there where you walk up and it triggers the little cutscene. If you get into if you don't let the dialogue finish up and you save and quit out, you will load back into the game and it won't remember that you already got that trigger and you won't have a way to get it again. So Bahamut was being extra careful there, not to allow that to happen. But we have got all three things. We've gotten all three pieces of info now, so it's time to head back and get the VIP passes.
And I see a lot of people talking about the ending. I will say, hey guys, don't talk about the ending.
We'll get there.
You could hear when you eat the item, you could hear Kira going yum yum yum. That was, I think, some of the most fun stuff to record was Kira and Kaylee like very audibly eating stuff, and that's a running gag in the River City games. So you're collecting all these items, you're collecting food, but you're also collecting like plushies and drugs, like medicinal stuff, and you're collecting all these different things, VCRs and books and stuff, but it's all edible. So at the end of the day, anything you can hold, anything you can buy, the girls will eat to gain some health back.
Interesting.
Hopefully not the VCR, but
interesting.
Everything. That is another character from Combat Tribes.
Yep.
That is Martha Splatterhead.
And that's Eric Ishii does the voice of her. So in addition to our amazing traditional voice cast, we also got a lot of people that are, in addition to acting, streamers or YouTubers, or, we have Jacksepticeye playing Godai. So it's a lot of fun VO in this game, and we got to work with a lot of our friends and people that we were fans of.
yeah. And I know you both had a lot to say about this particular boss fight in terms of some of the story behind it. So I'm just gonna lay it out and let everybody watch, because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of like reverse Guitar Hero in a way. The battle, it kind of has three verses as opposed to three phases. And Bahamut's going to be jumping around during the song here. But Bannon and Adam, do you want to just kind of talk about the Noise boss and the backing band and all that cool stuff here?
Yeah, I'll talk about the character really quick. So Noise, what we did that was fun with her is we really laid the foundation of her throughout the game. So Megan McDuffie does the bulk of our music. She's just an incredible artist, not just a composer, but a singer. And so that's her singing as Noise. And as you play through the game up to this point, you hear Noise on the radio, you see posters of Noise talking about her concert. And so we really wanted to, say, hey, let's have this character like exist in the world and really kind of lead up to the fact that you're eventually going to meet her and fight her and do a lot of like precursor stuff. So that was very fun. And then Bannon, yeah, if you want to talk about kind of the actual battle and how you and Kevin and everybody put all this stuff together.
As I've said before, I'm so sorry, design team, for allowing me to make this stupid, annoyingly awful fight scene. On a programming level, this was a nightmare, and I'm so happy that we actually did pull it off. It was just, I just wanted to get some type of rhythm thing in there, and I always wanted this kind of like the moment I knew we were going to do a music boss, it was like, well, it has to be a Guitar Hero kind of thing. But just setting this up, the music, the different tracks, because if you do hit one of the buttons that's like in Guitar Hero, it will mess up the lead guitar track. So Kevin, our audio guy, put something together in MIDI, and then the other audio guy, Rory, is actually like a really good guitar player. So he is doing that lead kind of solo stuff. So that's what Noise is essentially playing. But yeah, Adam, we didn't know Megan sang when we hired her, right?
No. Basically, we went after Megan because we had Chipsel does most of the boss tracks, not this one, and Chipsel has a very chiptune thing. So Dale North, our friend, recommended Megan. I said I want somebody who can kind of do a more of a symphonic style to balance out the chiptune stuff. And he recommended her, and she's amazing. And I remember, early on, we were talking, and she's like, "Do you want me to do vocals?" I'm like, "Oh, would you mind?" And then her test song was vocals, and her singing voice is so incredible. We said, "Oh yeah, you're doing that everywhere." And that was, I think, one of the coolest things is having just low-key, full vocal tracks going on in the stages. That's something I always love in games, and it always surprises people because normally you only hear that stuff in boss battles, so to have it everywhere I think really helped reinforce the idea of this rock star in this world.
It was like we got a beautiful steak dinner, and they're like, "Oh, do you want free lobster with this?" It was just like, it was such an added bonus. Like, oh wait, you could sing?
Well, I just have to say, it's such a well-designed, cool, distinctive boss fight to like just kind of mash that into a game. I'm sure everybody was like behind it, and is really like proud of how it came out. So, you know, really cool, really nice boss fight again as well, Bahamut. Very nicely done.
Yeah, nicely done. I was going to mention really quick that little anime cosplay bear girl. You might think that's like a Way Forward character. Nope, that's an old Data East character that Ark requested. So again, there's so much absurd characters in this universe that we were tapping into, and a lot of the craziest ones weren't even created by us.
And for those that don't know, the purple-haired girl in the background there, that is Christina V, the Shantae voice actor.
Yeah, we really need to give a lot of props to her. So Christina, in addition to voicing Hasabe, she cast everybody. She got our amazing VO cast. She directed the sessions. We use her for most of the VO and Way Forward games. So if you love the VO in this game, or Shantae, or Vitacon, or anything else we do, usually she's the one behind it.
And she's a lot of the, she pops up a couple times as some of the random NPCs, but she does a lot of the grunts and hits and like sounds of the enemies. But then it was up to Adam, a friend of mine, Chris. Yeah, oh, that was weird. Adam, a friend of mine, Chris, and then me to do the voices of the male enemies.
Yes, this is Bannon doing Abore, aka Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This is me doing that. I'm doing the stuff.
Oh, it's so good.
What?
How many dabs are you up to? I think it's like 6 or 7 now.
Something like that. Yeah. Hopefully, you guys keeping better count than I am.
Oh yeah, you're doing great. Speaking of dabs for donations, this is the Sabu Tower climb. It's probably the last good stretch where we have some time for donations. So if we got a few more to read, this would be the best time for it.
Yeah, all right. I'll try to power through a few here. First off, one from someone who helped make all bosses a reality, $50 from Aussie Drop, who said, "I've never heard of this game, but more bosses always sounds good. Go RCG." Thank you. Kate donated $25 and said, "My brother and I rented River City Ransom all the time. We never beat the game, but it's one we always played together. My husband and I have played River City Girls. Have fun taking the game apart, dear runner. May RNG be ever in your favor." Also have $100 here from Shuckle, longtime watcher, first-time donator. Gaming and speedrunning have helped me through a lot, and I'm more than happy to help PCF and see some more GDQ. Let's see that Hades run. Let's see, Jino donated $250. I woke up and heard, we don't have much time to meet that incentive. Well, here's my first donation of the week, doing my part to help us relax in the sauna. Good luck, and thanks everyone participating in the event. John Toe donated $25 saying sauna percent go. And John Toe is correct. We will be seeing sauna percent bonus run of RCR as that incentive was met.
Oh, that's awesome.
$25 here from Sayot, who says, kick, punch, it's all in the mind. Oops, wrong game. Thanks for doing this and making working from home bearable today. Let's see. I've got Uzi with $25. I love hearing devs on the couch, especially for such a cool game. Thanks, GDQ. Bex donated $25 and said, love the River City Girls soundtrack. Keep up the good work, runners. Stats for Cats donated $10 and said, $300,000 hype. Love me some beat 'em ups. Let's go, Bahamut.
Absolutely, yeah. And that was great. Thank you again so much for all your donations. And I'm really glad that we're going to have the donation incentive met for that next River City Ransom race, which is coming right up after this. That'll be really cool. So, oh, Bahamut, that's a tough jump right there, coming out of that locked room. So, but we're climbing the tower, Sabu Tower here. This is like the home base of the Yakuza, because we're pretty much just like, we've hunted high and low for the boyfriends. We cannot figure out where they are. So obviously the Yakuza kidnapped them. So makes sense. I love this henchman character, Bannon and Adam. Do you want to talk about him a little bit as we collect these explosives?
Yeah, he was really fun. Again,
That's
it's
all
just
Adam.
we like just stupid humor, and so you know the whole idea of like you would need like 4 explosives to open this, not 3, not 5. You know that sort of just goofy, derpy humor I think is just all over the game. So he's just Mr. Exposition, but yeah, one of the fun characters in the game for sure.
Yeah, and they're just like,
what
okay,
Adam
four explosives, got it. We'll be back. And Bannon,
that
I know you
classic,
love.
like,
I know you love
Hagrid.
this room.
Got another one. Hey, careful with that
Go ahead,
thing.
Sam. I talked
Hagrid
over
from
you.
Harry
Sorry.
Potter that just won't stop giving them information.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of these rooms, again, you know, they're laundering money. This is a Bannon idea, so you're literally laundering money. And it was fun just coming up with things like, yeah, this and the weapons room and the little casino, which Kyoko gets super excited about because she's never been in a casino. It's, you know, it was really fun thinking up the rooms about what you would see as you're working your way up to the top of the tower and trying to make them as unique as possible.
I just love the little details. Like one thing I noticed when I was watching Bahamut do a practice run the other day is there's dollar bills clothespin to the line back there. I never saw that before this last weekend when I was checking that out. So yeah, just it's just, I don't know. This game's just like genuinely funny, and you don't see that a lot of the time. So.
Yeah, and really all praise to Arc System Works, because a lot of these little details, a lot of like all these little goofy touches and these subtle things that help bring the game to life, you only get to do that when you have a really trusting publishing partner and an IP holder like Arc System Works. So they really were on board with our vision for the game. They really let us go wild and, you know, helped us, even gave us tips on combat because, you know, they're the combat masters. But the fact that you get all those little personality things is so much because of them, you know, just running with our vision and trusting us.
Yeah, and Bahamut's making this look really easy with the combat. I mean, like I kind of mentioned earlier, like there's a whole weapon system that Bahamut's not really using. You can pick up enemies and use them as weapons. Like the combat in this game is pretty dynamic, and it's very modular in the sense that you go to the dojos and you, like, you know, train up and learn new abilities as you level or as you buy them. And I mean, you can play this game so many different ways.
Yeah, two of the things that you're not saying just because it's a speed run and because it's single player that I think are most notable is, one, when you're playing 2-player, if one character dies, their ghost leaves their body and then your friend can beat it back into them. And that was kind of our little resurrection mechanic, and it's really, you know, fun in 2-player. And then we're also not saying just because of how long it would take the recruit system, which Bannon came up with, and that's all about any enemy in the game. If you get them to be the last enemy, sometimes they'll beg for their life, and you can recruit them as a jump-in support character, and that was really cool, just the fact that you could get any enemy in the game, every version of every enemy in the game, to come in and help you with your combat.
That's true, yeah, we're not really seeing that at all either. But we are seeing the Sabuko fight, which is, I guess we should say now for the normal playthrough, this is the final boss.
Yep. So she's another creation. Sabu, is an established gangster. He's been in the series pretty much from the beginning, and we have him in prison in this game, but we have his daughter, who's an original Way Forward character, taking over the reins during this period. And yeah, she was a lot of fun. Xanthe Quinn does her VO, and she's just total badass.
Real quick, did you get the, somebody said, did you get the elevator statue?
Yeah, I noticed that I think you're still short one, but I'm pretty sure you know which one it is, right, Bahamut?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
we'll take care of
it.
that. Yep. We'll take care of that after Seppuku here.
Gotcha.
This fight's really hard, by the way. Bahamut is probably going to make this look pretty easy. As got to go for safety lasagna here.
Yep, I bought a few
Now,
extra.
here's the thing, is, like I said, I do jump into a lot of streams. I watched somebody play this for the first time, and they're like, yeah, this was probably the easiest boss fight in the game. I was like, I'm just astounded by, like, the different ways people play, and, like, I don't know how this person defeated Satoko on their first go, and, like, barely getting hit. I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's for me it was the hardest for sure. I could see Hibari being a really difficult one for people casually too, just because it's so different. But the thing that's so tricky about Sabuko is she's got these phases, and every phase is just a little bit different. She's doing different attacks. You can see the emblems on the back there. For each of the phases, a different emblem lights up. So we're in the water phase right now, where she's doing all these water-based attacks.
So it is rabbit, fish, and dragon. These are represented on her tattoos on her body.
Yeah, we should give a quick shout out to Priscilla Hamby, our character designer. So the modern look of pretty much everybody in the game is done by the illustrator Priscilla, who does the HD versions. Like you can see Kyoko at the top of the HUD. She just, I love what she came up with for Sabuko, and a lot of her designs then informed kind of what we did with them gameplay-wise. So because she put Yakuza tattoos all over her, that's why we decided to go with like the different forms of attacks for her.
Yeah, and that was
In our
really
direction would be barely anything. It would be like noise. We want a Lady Gaga looking boss that has like an axe guitar, and then the rest is up to her. Seamstress that looks like a spider, and then she delivers the artwork and the sketches, and it was always just such a treat.
And I love watching people play this on streams where they always point out that Sabuko says, I don't need anyone to fight my battles for me. And then, of course, the first thing she does is run and hide and send the minions after you.
Well, you were talking earlier about like the boss, or we were kind of talking about how difficult this boss fight is. I know I can speak from experience. The first time I fought this, I got to this bonus phase here, and I like panicked. I was like, no, I can't do this, and that catches people off guard too. But not Bahamut. Well done. That fourth phase actually was super smooth. So
I'm happy about the fourth phase.
Yeah, that went really well. It looked like that maybe the second was a little bit rough, but that can just happen that way sometimes because of her patterns, and you have to like manipulate her movement. So, okay, so we just skipped through the normal ending, and now we just need to find that last Sabu statue. The boys are back. We found them. They were just chilling at the spa. They were chilling in the sauna the whole time. Would you believe it?
As one does, yeah.
Yeah. We got more work to do. And let's talk about this secret boss, because I know there's some cool story and a little bit of lore maybe behind that.
Yeah, so like when we pitched the game, it's interesting because most of the games, Ricky and Kunio are the heroes that you play as, and then in the Super Famicom game Tachi no Banka, you also get to play as Kyoko and Masako, and so that's kind of where the pitch came, and we pitched it, but I had forgotten that they're not typically the girlfriends. They're kind of the rarer characters. More often the girlfriends are Hasabe and Mami, and so this started sort of a rivalry within our sub-lore of the characters, and so those kind of like snooty girls that you see occasionally that are always taunting Kyoko and Masako, they're Hasabe and mommy. And so that's leading up to this. And again, it was really fun just to play up that rivalry. I love just the trope of rival characters and characters being crappy towards each other. And that made for a very fun sequence that you're gonna see that he's working towards, because we're just spending the entire game making players hate these two rival girls. And again, watching streams, that's one of the most fun things, is just watching every time they reach them, just hear audibly like, oh, I hate those girls, and then so it ends in this really nice payoff that you're going to see at the end of Bahamut's run.
Yeah, and good job tracking down that last statue, Bahamut. I know that can be tricky if you miss one, to go back and figure out which one it was.
Yeah, unfortunately it was behind this one, this locked room, so I have to do this one after anyway. So some of them that I, might have missed once in a while, I could usually get in and out, but this will just take a couple minutes.
You're doing so good on time, dude. Keep it up.
And no, that is not King from Tekken. This is an old character from a Kunio-kun game that was like a 4-player, almost like a Smash Brothers kind of game back in the day. And they were the last boss. It was a tag team of Tiger Mask.
Yeah, and a lot of the Kunio-kun games are, I think probably less of them are beat-ups or maybe, about half of them, but a lot of them are sports games, as Bannon mentioned. So a lot of these characters are like themed characters based on dodgeball teams and basketball teams and stuff like that.
So we're just working our way back to Sabu Tower now that we've got all the statues, so we should be headed to that secret boss fight really quickly here. Because it's actually in the same boss arena where we just fought Sabuko, so this is gonna all look familiar for a second. It's not like a whole new area or anything like that, but again, thank you so much for all of your donations so that we were able to show off the secret boss fight. I know Adam and Bannon are really proud of it, and we're doing a good job not spoiling it too.
So this was that scene right there. All this stuff is like very Resident Evil, like under the mansion kind of look.
So you'll see he's equipping 2 lockets. You got 1 locket for beating the game and the other locket for beating the statues, and that triggers this.
Well, look who...
I recognize those two.
And yeah, again, when we watch people play on Twitch, like the reaction that we get when they actually get to fight them after they've been taunted the whole time, it always gets me just this audible like, yes, finally I get to destroy them. And it was really fun to just like knowing that we were going to end with this battle, really just playing up how mean spirited they are to the protagonist for the entire adventure.
Well, and I seem to remember you told me a story too that you weren't for sure that you were going to be able to incorporate this as a boss fight.
This one was on the chopping block, so yeah, it was really kind of Bannon and Kay and David, our programmer, like really everybody getting it, in at the last minute. But yeah, this one was risky.
This was like us suggesting to Marvel that Mary Jane Watson and like a friend of hers, like, well, we'll just say. Yeah, Mary Jane Watson is like the villain of the game, of the Spider-Man game. It's like, wait, what do you mean? So to Arc System Works, this just didn't make sense, but we're like, trust us, this makes sense in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, because these two characters are they're like the heroines in some of their games.
Yeah, in River City Ransom, there's Cindy and Roxy.
And they're also very sweet, so like the snarky attitude is really all the way forward. These are like the nicest girls in basically the lore. And I guess in Japan, if you play this game in Japan, it's called Kunio-kun Gaiden, so we're kind of seen as like a side story, alternate universe to the traditional stuff of the rest of the games.
I'll just say angels. Whenever you see angels in this game, that is a reference to the dodgeball game. When you defeated somebody, they turn into little angels.
Yeah, there's actually like a really interesting mechanic now in this 4th phase of this fight now, because we have taken out Mommy here, and the ghost is flying around, and kind of like you were saying earlier with the co-op, that's actually how we're going to deal damage to finish this fight here, is honk the ghost.
Yep.
Yeah, we taught you the whole time to beat on your friend to put the ghost back in, so this is essentially what you're doing.
And I love how that anime moment came out, that screaming at the death of your best friend. It was just,
Yeah.
Joel is our VFX guy, and Kevin is our sound effects guy, and just everybody just knocked it out of the park in that moment.
All right, one quick thing. The time will be as soon as I finish off this ghost here, which will be, I think, 2 more hits here.
Go ahead and bring it home, dude. You got this.
Thank you. Yep.
For anybody that plays this, I will say, pro tip, you cannot do any damage to the angry character.
Time.
Try as you might.
Nice.
There we go.
Nice job.
Great job, Bahamut.
Thank you.
Put that little angel back in her.
Poop. We'll never live this down.
Oh, poop.
So, do we have time to watch the good ending here?
How?
I can talk while the ending is going.
Yeah, I know you said you had a couple things you wanted to talk about, so maybe we can do a little bit of both, because yeah, your time's about a 101, so nicely done.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys dated them for like
So first I want to thank
16
moonblazewolf for the great commentary. Also a big thank you to Adam and Bannon from WayForward for joining us. I love hearing about all the different things of the game, the inner workings and everything, so it was really awesome to hear so much more about the game and the development. Also, thank you so much for developing this beautiful game. I have loved this so much since it came out. Also, thank you to Prolix for being a great host. I also want to give a shout out to 2 great River City communities. There's a whole fan server dedicated to the game called River City Mall, a great place of tons of information about the moves and everything to help you learn about the game. If you want to learn to speedrun River City Girls, come on over. There's a WayForward speedrun Discord. There's a channel specifically River City Girls, and we're always looking for more runners, so we're real welcoming. If you enjoy this, you should come join us. And also lastly, I want to say, this past year has been an amazing journey for me. Before I started playing this game, I was really bad at beating 'em up games. Often, Double Dragon and stuff, I couldn't get past the first level a lot of times. So when this game came out, it reminded me of River City Ransom as a kid, which I loved playing the game because I had RPG elements, despite not being good at it. So I picked up this game, did a couple casual playthroughs, and I thought, I love this so much. I should speedrun this. So it took me a long time to grind my time down to where it's at, but it's been an amazing experience and adventure. So yeah, I know. Speaking of River City Ransom, that's coming up next. So unless someone else want to say something?
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This has been awesome being a part of this.
Yeah,
I'm glad to reawaken that beat 'em up spirit inside of you then. I would have never guessed you weren't good at beat 'em ups.
I just have to say, Bahamut, I'm so proud of you. You're just like a big inspiration for me, and just knowing how far you've come to get this game to GDQ is just like such an accomplishment. I'm just so proud of you. So congratulations, dude.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to GDQ for inviting me to this game. It's been an honor to be a part of this amazing event for a great charity. So thanks for having me, and I hope you have a great rest of your event, and take care.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, same to you, Bahamut X. Have a lot of love for it. Coming in here through the donations, I will try to get to as many of these as I possibly can. Let's see here. $25 from TFK. River City Girls is one of my favorite games, and I was so happy to see it on the list of games being run this year. Keep up the good work, and just keep dabbing on. Also, TMSLFT said, good luck on the run, Bahamut X. That was a $100 donation from them. And here's $10 from TrayStation64. Huge fan of side-scrolling beat 'em up. These girls are giving out hands, $2.99 a pound. I've got a $50 donation here from One Pint Too Many. Big thanks to the WayForward crew for bringing so much love to RCG and the streaming community. My daughter and I played this together and had an absolute blast. I have a hard time conveying how much happy you've brought. Big shout out to my sister, who's a researcher whose work dips into the realm of cancer research. Bahamut X, kicking butt, a little dabble do ya. We got a $50 donation here from Anonymous. Always love having dev commentary. River City Girls has been on my to-do list for a while now, but this run, along with the history and context, has finally convinced me I need this. Thanks to all involved. And we'll have more of your donations coming up soon, but first, let me send it over to the interview desk. Take it away.
Hey everybody, I'm Blechy here with Baldnate, who very shortly will be running Strider. How's it going, Baldnate, on this fine morning?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good, good. Yeah, I mean, I love Strider. It has such an long and illustrious history with HEDQ. You know, it was run in 2016 by BJW, and then in 2018 it had this tutorial. I don't know if you out there remember that, but Darkman taught Jimmy Poopins how to run the game. Then that very summer, both Jimmy and Darkman commentated a race of it, and now. We have, that was all any percent. Now we have 100% run done here by Nate shortly. So we've seen any percent before Nate, but what does 100% bring to the table?
Okay, well, 100%. So as in the name, I'm going to, as opposed to any percent, you're just moving through the game as quickly as possible and basically dodging all of the items. And 100%, we're going to collect all of them. But to do that, you can break the game a little bit, but you can't break it too much because, as it turns out, if you skip too far forward, certain items will refuse to spawn anymore in that playthrough and can't get 100%. So there's this tension between, you know, getting all the items as quickly as possible, using the glitches to eliminate revisits and navigate more quickly through the levels, but not go too far beyond what the game engine will allow you to do. And beyond that, you get to see a little bit more of the curious movement that Strider for the NES has. You see a lot more wall jumping. See a little bit more fighting the weird physics in the game that will sometimes give you a regular jump, sometimes a small jump, sometimes
You're
a
being
huge
very
jump.
kind. You're being very kind when you describe it as curious. Yeah, yeah. Curious definitely is an understatement with Strider. And it's so cool that we'll get to see more places in the game. There's a bunch of different places, and I'm so glad that we have you here to run Strider, especially because you are such a prolific runner. And actually, I wonder if do you know the exact count of how many different games you've posted runs for?
I don't. I know it's a couple hundred.
From what I could tell on the leaderboards, I came up with 221. I think that might be the number. So that's absolutely crazy. It's super impressive. Of all those games, what made you decide to go with Strider?
In the case of Strider, it was sort of an easy choice because it was the first game I ever ran, and it was the game that got me into speedrunning and into streaming. So, and beyond that, I've just put a lot of time into it, just coming back to the different categories and wanting to spend more time routing. 100% was the first game that I routed from scratch. So just all those together made it a really easy submission choice for me.
That's awesome. So this is actually what got you into speedrunning. How did that come about?
Oh, it was just in late 2017. I had spent maybe a year watching speedruns online, whether they were pre-recorded or live. And for whatever reason, I just said, you know, maybe I could do this here. I've seen people do this Strider run. This was before the tutorial. I was like, that looks cool. You know what? I'm gonna fire up this game and see if I can just get the zip to work. I wasn't even thinking about running the whole thing, and I figured it out. I didn't know that you were supposed to pause buffer the inputs. So as it turns out, it's a lot harder to do the zips if you don't pause buffer. Just for anyone out there, use the pause buffer. But after that, I was honestly hooked, and before I knew it, I had posted up runs, was learning the new techniques, watching the VODs of other people frame by frame to try to figure out how they did the tricks, and that's been it. Like that was my introduction to speedrunning.
Did you jump right into trying to run it, or did you do a casual playthrough yourself first?
Well, in this one, I actually played and beat this as a kid, renting the cartridge from a local
Really?
rental shop.
Impossible. Proof call. Proof call.
But obviously, I wasn't using any of the glitches back then. I genuinely love this game. I think it
Yeah.
may have been the first Metroidvania sort of game I played with, backtracking and
Mhm.
progression. So I just have
Mhm.
a soft spot in my heart for this game.
Got it. And then, so you mentioned that it was hard for you to kind of figure out the glitches on your own. When did it start occurring to you? Maybe I should just kind of join the community around this game and start, either talking to them about the game, figuring out how to do these tricks, or maybe just even competing with times.
I can't remember exactly when it was, but I think after I'd submitted a few runs, some of the other runners, sort of reached out to me and said, "Hey, I see you're running. Good job." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
well, I've gotten this idea that there are um, discords for speedrunning." And I said, "Oh, well, is there a Strider for NES?" And then they said, "Well, no." And I said, "I'll just make one." Not knowing that, like, oh, why would you make a Discord for a single NES game? But I did, and people started to show up, and we would trade tips and commiserate over missed zips, and that that was my introduction to a speedrunning community. There,
got it.
yeah.
You've run both any percent and 100% then?
Yes, and the two glitchless categories as well.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. And when it comes to glitchless, kind of what does that involve?
Um, well, obviously, no zipping, and the two categories. One allows death warps, and one doesn't. But beyond that, there's a lot of walking and sliding. The most interesting tech there is there's a few places to where you can wall jump in somewhat unexpected places to skip through a few, back and forth navigations. And likewise, you can sometimes jump over some boss triggers, some mini boss triggers. So in general, that's what you're looking for in the glitchless runs. Really, just lots of clean movement throughout, and then skipping those bosses.
Very cool. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing this 100% run. It's coming up. It will be, of course, using glitches. And man, Strider is a very curious game indeed. You'll be seeing a lot of those glitches that Nate has just described. It's really, really crazy. Definitely check it out. Thank you so much, Nate, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for the interview.
Absolutely. All right, stay tuned for the next run. And then after that will be Strider. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2021 Online, powered by Twitch. I am your host, Prolix, and I've got to blast through some more of these River City Girl donations before I lose my opportunity to do so. Here comes $5 from Axel Blaze, who says, I don't have much to give, but just wanted to donate now because Way Forward is one of my favorite companies, and I just want them to know that. Please make more beat-em-ups. Also, $5 received from Zach, who says, RCG was one of my faves from 2019, so glad to see it getting love today. Think I'm going to have to go binge on the soundtrack after this. And there's a $10 donation here from Professor Thorgy, who says, had to donate during River City Girls. This game is amazing, so I'm happy to see it getting spotlighted and to hear that there's more on the way. Also, Plato2876 coming in with a $250 donation. Thank you, Plato. And their comment is, awesome continuation of runs. Great to see some of the more niche games here across the week. Great job, runners. Thanks for all that generosity, everyone. Again, coming up next, River City Ransom and any novice difficulty race with Yellsrake and Will Bobsled, followed by a 100% run of Strider by Baldnate, who you just saw in an interview. After that, we also have Aladdin All Stages and Metroid All Bosses coming up later in the day. Speaking of the Metroid run, for all bosses, there are 2 route choices available that you can bid toward. We've got Kraid first or Ridley first. I was speaking with someone involved in the run yesterday, and they let me know that Kraid first is the more technically difficult and fun option, and it is currently in the lead, so they're really hoping it stays that way. The runners are looking forward to doing Kraid first if possible. That said, if you would prefer to see Ridley first, you can always donate toward that as well. The runners will not be sad that they're spoiled of not being able to do Kraid first when it will raise more money for charity. So feel free to vote with your wallet, vote for charity, and vote for your favorite Metroid All Bosses route while you're at it. All right, Chad, it's time for me to resurrect something that we have not seen in ages. That's right, returning from AGDQ 2017, it is time for me to bring back my favorite feature. It's awesome donations done quick. And this is a challenge just for you, Twitch chat. That's right, you out there. This is just for you. So back in 2017, I also hosted for River City Ransom when Yellsrake was doing a run of it, and it is an extremely short game. I know that the estimate on the schedule is 10 minutes. However, both of these racers, Will Bobsled and Yellsrake, are capable of posting times several minutes shorter than that. So my challenge to you, should you choose to accept, is to go to the GamesDoneQuick.com website and get ready to click the donate button. Don't do it yet, not for this challenge. You could donate now if you want to for some other reason, but for awesome donations done quick, you will wait until the timer starts on the River City Ransom run, and then you will go and you will try to get a donation in before the runners finish the race. It is your chance to race them. Just this little special fun thing we did here at, I swear, at AGDQ 2017, I did have donations for people saying, yes, it was actually difficult to beat the time because there are a few things to click on. When you donate, you got to put in a name and your email address, or you could choose to be anonymous, and you can review what prizes you're eligible to win right now. We have a great block of prizes available all the way through that Metroid All Bosses run coming up later. And besides that, there are also those incentives you can put your money toward. Like we've got the extra stuff from Tony Hawk's Underground 2, or a braid upgrade to the 6-star run category instead. Things like that, they're all still open and waiting for your dollars for Prevent Cancer Foundation to fill. So you have a lot to click on and not a lot of time to do it as we do awesome donations done quick. Got it? Okay, so again, wait for River City Ransom to start. wait for Yells Rake and Will Bobsled to go, and then you begin a donation and see if you can beat them out, okay? Again, it only takes like $5 or more to donate, so if you just want to chip in and say it was awesome donations done quick or whatever you'd like to do, go ahead. It's just a special, fun little challenge for you from me, and it's great to bring this back all the way from the last time I did it when River City Ransom was last featured at the marathon. All right, everyone, and it is time. Get your donations ready. Get your sauna ready. We're sending it to Yells Rake and Will Bobsled for River City Ransom Novice. Take it away.